Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bet the Edge. Thanks, everyone, watching our NBC Sports YouTube channel or listening live. If you're listening live, I'm sorry you're missing out on ski week. The well cappers outside in frigid weather. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's beautiful weather, man. Just ideal. Bluebird day today. I'm up in Snowmass in Aspen. First time I've ever skied here. This mountain is enormous. It's bigger than Mammoth. It's a little bit smaller than Vail. I don't know how we're going to get it all done in a day, but I tell you what, they got the grooming report up. It looks like most of the mountain is going to be accessible, so I'm fired up. Hopefully I appreciate you filling in for me this week while I get my laps in on the mountain. And, hopefully you've been giving the people the winning bets that I know that you have in your accounts every day. So, but happy to talk a little college basketball and a little NBA with you.
Happy to have you here on your vacation. Hope you enjoy the slopes as much as possible. Fun fact, I cannot ski. But that is on my bucket list, Drew. I want to learn how to ski really bad.
I think I was your age when I learned.
All right. Well, then that's not too late for me. Let's get it going. Today we have a great episode. We will talk NBA at the end of it. Of course, Nuggets, Celtics on tap, an NBA Finals preview perhaps. But we will talk some more blind resumes, which Drew and I have done so much and has been fun to do. So we will kick it off here with some Final Four contenders, Team A versus Team B. We'll get the sweet graphics up here on the screen. And Team A, Drew, is a projected 3 seed by Bortorovic with their grade as a 30 effective field goal percentage on offense, first in free throw rate on defense. I think I know who this team is, but they suck on offense with a 353rd free throw rate on offense. They're plus 3,000 to win the national title, plus 700 to make the Final Four with a 7-6 record versus quad one. For Team B, though, 3 seed as well, 32nd effective field goal offense, 103rd in free throw rate, 7-7 record against quad one. And they have a better record, or better pricing, I should say, to make the Final Four and the Natty at plus 550 and 25 to 1. What's the like or dislike about Team A and Team B?
Well, I think both of these teams, obviously, like if you're getting a projected 3 seed at this time of the year, like you've proven something. The fact that Team A here has their third in effective field goal offense, that doesn't just go away once you get into, tournament setting. Postseason basketball is different than regular season basketball in college and NBA, but for different reasons, right? In the NBA, obviously, with the best of 7 series, like your opponent starts to understand who you are, and you have to have, kind of more wrinkles, more gears, more ways to differentiate yourself night after night. In college basketball, because of the one and done format, like what you're really concerned about is teams that rely too heavily on the 3-point shot, and teams that can't create defensive turnovers, because then if you're up against a hot shooting team, you need extra possessions in order to close those gaps and avoid the upsets. And I look at a team that has a third in effective field goal percentage in the across all of college basketball, and that should translate pretty well. So they're going to have chances, and I think that like the Team A in this case, I would say is less susceptible to an upset. But I would also say that getting over the hump against the 2 seed in the Sweet 16 and getting past a 1 seed potentially in the Elite 8, I'm not seeing it with this particular resume. So I don't think either of these teams realistically has much of a Final Four chance. But if I had to take a swing at price between Team A and Team B here, I'm going to take a swing on Team A just because of the higher likelihood that they get deeper into the tournament. What about you?
I knew you were going to say that. I'm going to say I would take Team B here because I know who Team A is because I just went on a show yesterday and talked about teams I would not take in the 20 to 30 to 1 range. And Creighton has a terrible free throw rate on offense, but it's probably because they have the 3rd effective field goal percentage, Drew, and they score a ton of offense. Most of their shots go in, so they don't get to the free throw line. So I think Team A is Creighton. And if Team A is Creighton, I don't want Creighton. So I'm taking Team B. I think Team B, I don't know if you have any ideas on who it might be.
Oof, man,
I don't think they would give us a Marquette, Kentucky. I think it's a team in the Big 10 or Big 12, though, because they have a 10-7 conference record. Okay. If you're playing that minimal amount of conference games, that means your conference is bigger. So I would probably say it's a Big 12 or Big 10 team based on
Illinois,
that price.
Maybe? Is Illinois
or maybe
3 seed right now?
Yeah. Maybe
I
I
guess
have it on my wall back there, but maybe it's the
between
Rock Chalk
Illinois and
Jayhawks.
Creighton, between a team like Illinois and Creighton, I guess I'd still would slightly lean Creighton, but I'm getting a sense that once we do the reveal here, I'm not going to want either one of these guys.
Yeah. Let's get the reveal going. We know A has to be Creighton. It is Creighton. B, the Kansas Jayhawks. Yeah, Big 12.
Ooh, Blue Jays versus Jayhawks, huh? Man,
How
that
do you feel about
Jayhawks
the pick now?
profile. The Jayhawks profile is surprising this year. It's not anywhere close to your typical Bill Self
No,
team. He typically
agreed.
centers. He's typically pretty keyed in on contributions from the bigs, and this sort of defense from the Jayhawks that you're seeing so far this season is not going to be enough, I don't think, to get them deep into the tournament. That said, the Big 12 is the home of the Houston Cougars now, and it's been there. The Jayhawks are going to be battle tested. That's for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I think both of these teams are probably not teams I would take to make to win the national championship. Sweet 16 odds, I'd be far more appealing to take both of these teams rather than their Final Four prices. But before we move on, Drew, I want to say I don't know if you've watched too much KJ Adams for Kansas yet. A 6'7", 235-pound junior. They say air quotations here, 235 pounds. He's playing the wrong sport. That's the DK Metcalf. He should be playing football. This guy is built like a brick house. Have you ever seen him before?
No, I got to check him out. That sounds like a perfect opportunity to cross over and become a tight end, take over for Travis Kelce in Kansas City after he retires next year.
And the best part about it is, too, you'll see him in the future NBA dunk contests if he is good enough to be in the NBA in the future, because that dude, when he dunks, heads above the rim. So it's time for a little Team C versus Team D, Drew. And I hear rumor has it you got a little 4 versus 5 action for me.
Okay, yes, 4 versus 5. Obviously, the projected 5 seed's a problem because they're probably going to lose in round 1 to the 12th seed, as the NCAA want to underseed the teams that have potential from the mid-majors to beat the 5 seeds. But that said, Team C is your projected 4. Right now, they're plus 550 to make the Final Four. That's not a decent price, actually. Plus 2,500 to win the national title. Right now, they are 115th in turnover offense, but second in turnover defense. They fit that perfect, prevent the shocker type of role here. The projected 5 seed, which is Team D, they are plus 450 to make the Final Four, 220 to 1 to win the national title. Right now, they are 50th in turnover offense, so they are very safe, not turning over the ball, but they are 80th in turnover defense. Now, that's not outside the range where this is an immediate put a black Sharpie through them, but it's a little on the lower side. So kind of going back to this, kind of question, are you riding with this 5 seed that may not have necessarily the turnover defense to get away from, get out of jail if the 12 seed that they get matched up against is shooting hot?
I think Team C is Iowa State because of the turnover percentage on defense. And I love Iowa State. I think the Cyclones are a potential bracket buster. For Team D, I like the numbers you mentioned here. 50th in turnover offense and defense. Those look great. But what you didn't mention, or maybe I didn't hear because I was thinking so hard here who this team could be. 6-4 record against Quad 1 for Team C. Team D is a 1-7 record against Quad 1. I have no idea who that could be now it's not Gonzaga. At least I don't think it's Gonzaga. But I would have to take Team C here. I think Team C is Iowa State, so I think that's the clear pick, Drew. What about you? What do you think?
Well, I kind of got the sense that the same as you. That elite turnover defense does sound like Iowa State to me. And honestly, if you made me take one other flyer outside of Houston in the Big 12, it's pretty clearly Iowa State.
Yeah, I think so too. They're actually second in odds to win the Big 12 tournament as well. But they do what Houston does on a lower scale, and we saw them beat them earlier in the season. So
yeah, that's true.
Hopefully, Team C is Iowa State reveal. Fingers crossed.
Ooh,
yeah.
This is all right. Now that we know the teams, I'm very glad with our choice here. Auburn is a projected 5 seed. They are fatally flawed in so many ways. I really have a tough time thinking that I guess there's been some relatively high-profile folks who have kind of put a flag in Auburn as underpriced. I'm not seeing it at all. This looks like a team that is very, very realistically going out in round 1. And I'm not just saying this because last year I took in a pretty high-stakes pool. I had Auburn, and They were very close to beating Houston in the 1-9 matchup after taking care of Iowa in the first round. And they were such a letdown in the second half of that game that I was kind of like, never again with these guys. And yes, a lot of the roster is turned over, but they still have some of the same fatal flaw issues that I think makes them a likely, like, if they do get a 5, and if we are breaking down the bracket in a week and change here, are we talking about Auburn as the likely first round upset? I think we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this team's 3-4 in their last 7 true road games. If you look at like their earlier season numbers, where it's their road or neutral court games, they're still posting good numbers. But as the season's going on, they played a lot better teams. I think we've seen Auburn be very susceptible, and I think they're a pretty easy team to bet. But they love playing very quick. When they get slowed down and grinded out, I think that's when they can also lose a game. But a 1-7 record against quad 1 opponents was definitely surprising for that to be the Auburn Tigers. Happy with my choice. I love Iowa State. I think they're a team that does everything. They have great guard play too, which is very important in March. So I will ride with them.
So here's a couple key questions for you here, because we got to actually make a serious decision, because that price for the Final Four for Iowa State's pretty darn good. You know for sure that they're not going to get the 4 seed in Houston's bracket, right? If they get the 4 seed in the let's say the Purdue bracket, like that's now we're talking. If they're in the if they're up against 1 seed UConn, how do we feel about that matchup potentially?
I mean, that's a much tougher matchup because UConn has much more size than Iowa State has, and that's the thing I do love about UConn, and that Houston doesn't have either, because Houston has big body, thick guys at 6'10", 6'11", but UConn's got the 7'2", 7'1" type of guys, and they got 3 of them. So I think UConn's going to be a problem if they do get matched up with a Houston or an Iowa State, and that's what I hope to avoid as a Cougars backer down the road. If I'm in Iowa State, I want Arizona or Purdue's region.
Okay, absolutely. So basically so if we take Iowa State Final Four price right now, we're rolling the dice. We got a 2 out of 3 chance to avoid UConn.
Yes,
I think we do it.
I would take it.
I think this is a bet. I'm going to track this down. That's a good number for Iowa State. This team is good. Iowa State is. I've lost a little bit of sleep that they were going to steal the Big 12 out from under Houston this year, and ultimately it's probably not going to happen. But this is a good team.
And I'll say this: I am not being quick to the window to buy Houston's Big 12 tournament winner price for the conference tournament. Like, Iowa State is giving me a little doubt there to bet it, even though I think Houston can win the title. So yeah, I say we make this an official bet from the show, Drew. We're taking Iowa State to make the final.
So if Iowa State wins the Big 12, they probably get elevated to 3 or 2, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And then this price gets dropped.
Then this price goes way down, right? Then we still gotta be worried about UConn potentially in an Elite 8 matchup if we end up in their region. But still, like, basically, I think a bet on Iowa State for the Final Four is rolling the dice that 2 out of 3 you're going to get Purdue or Arizona as your 1. And then you have a very real chance to get there.
Yep, and I'll note too that Bart Torvik ranks Iowa State as the 6th best team in the country right now, and Auburn is number 5.
It's going to shock you to know that I agree with Bart on the Iowa State ranking, and I strongly disagree on the Auburn ranking.
Yeah, I don't know if you could tell me Auburn's better than almost every other team in the country, but we will see come March when a 12 seed knocks them off. They are the 5 seed. But if you haven't known already, let the madness begin. We are in the conference tournament season, and Peacock is your exclusive home for Big Ten hoops. Today, you can start streaming the TIA Big Ten Women's Tournament. And on Wednesday the 13th, it's the men's turn to get the action started. We actually already placed bets on this show, Drew, about the Big Ten Men's Tournament. I got Illinois at 5-1, and I sprinkled Ohio State at 50-1 because they look great under Jake Diebler. And another fun fact, $20 bet yesterday, Houston Cougars to win it all, parlay with the Iowa Hawkeyes women to win it all, 67-1. Give me some Caitlin Clark action, baby. Can't get enough of that. But we got one more bracket buster. This one, blind resumes. These teams are 8 and 7 seed projections by Bart Torvik, Drew. For Team E, they are 82nd in three-point defensive percentage, 65th in adjusted offense. They're also 13th in adjusted defense, which is awesome. 4-8 record against quad 1 opponents. 17-12 overall in the year, though. Interesting there, with a 30-1 price to make the Final Four. The 7 seed for Team F, 99th in three-point defense, 21st in adjusted offense. They shoot the 3 pretty well, top 50, defensively top 100, but they're 4-8 against quad one opponents with a 25-1 price to make the Final Four. Slightly better record, 21-9. Who do you like? What do you like?
Okay, so this is interesting, and I guess I'll talk a little bit of strategy here, and this is not a long-term super profitable angle, so just keep that in mind. But I get sucked into these Final Four prices for the 8 and 9 seeds that I like a lot, because realistically, it's a gamble on they can beat the 1 seed in the head-to-head. Right. And that's a pretty easy thing to price. Like, you kind of know what that money line price is going to be. Presumably the 8-9 matchup is a little bit of a 50-50, but if you find one that you think is pretty lopsided in favor of an 8 or a 9, and then you like your matchup against the 1 seed, say it's a Purdue, then I think you're basically you studied 4 and 5, because 4 and 5s tend to get a little bit. Those are the sort of the teams that are sometimes sliding into the tournament, right? They're not playing their best basketball. They're not on the come up, right? If you're on the come up, you're going to get the 2 or the 3, right? And if you're kind of falling out of that range, you're going to land in the 4 and the 5. Those are the teams that get matched up against 12s and 13s who have a pulse, right? Like the mid majors with a pulse tend to get 12s and 13s. And there's plenty of examples where you've had literally, seats to the Sweet 16 that was contested between a 12 versus 13, right? And so knocking off the 1 seed if you're an 8 or a 9 sometimes gives you that path afforded of the 1 seed path, which can be quite favorable. And so I tend to look at prices like 30-1 for an 8 seed. And if they have like a general resume that kind of gets you believing in them, beating the 9, beating the 1, then all of a sudden, you could be, the beneficiary of chaos happening elsewhere in your region. You're only going to have to play one of a 2-3 if they even get there. And there's always certain regions that are just, they look like the busty regions, and those are the ones where the 8 or the 9 seed price tends to really stand out to me. So I don't really love the resumes of either of these teams, but if I'm going to have to take one, I'm going to go Final Four price at 30-1 on an 8 seed, just because there's enough potential for chaos, and if you can beat your 1 seed, then you can get their path, and that is valuable.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea who either of these two teams are. I'm not super impressed with their resumes either. I mean, they're both 4 and 8 against quad one opponents, about 10 and 7 and 10 and 8 in quad or conference records, toeing the line of 500 in their last 10 games. So both these teams don't seem like teams we'd be really wanting to fight for or rush to the window for in March Madness themselves. I'm trying to think of who these teams could be, because when I think of like 8 or 9 seeds, I guess 7 seeds for this, I'm thinking of the TCUs, the Northwesterns, Mississippi States, Nebraskas, San Diego States, maybe. Anyone in the Mountain West.
Is it possible that Team E is the San Diego State? Because if that's the case, then now we're really cooking. That would be fun.
I mean, I watched them the first 10 minutes a few nights ago, and they looked absolutely atrocious offensively, but they lost the game by 4.
That's typical.
Great defense.
that's
so yeah. Team E might be them. Yeah,
that sounds like Aztec basketball to me.
Yeah, I guess that would be my only guess, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a Big East team, because I know the producer loves the Big East. But that's about all I got for you, Drew. So let's do the reveal. Team E is
Whoa,
Villanova, not San Diego State.
Interesting.
Villanova's 13th in defense.
Interesting.
Really?
Texas Tech is your Team F projected
Texas
7
Tech,
seed. Well, I guess I'm happy with this. I have really, really tough time rating Villanova right now. But I guess ultimately, they do fit the mold of a team that I would tend to gravitate to if they draw the likes of Purdue as a 1. So I'm going to stick with my guns here. 30-1 to make the Final Four is a big old number.
I'm going to pass on both. I don't want either. I don't even know if I would take. I mean, depending on the matchup, I would have to consider these two to win a game or two. I guess I'd do my duty, my due diligence there. But I don't feel very confident either of these two teams down the stretch. I mean, Texas Toad on the road to neutral court has been a straight fade for me, and Villanova's they're in that topic where sportsbooks are now saying, will Villanova make the tournament or not? Because they're one of those at-large teams. So if we're talking about that a week out,
okay, so we're going to sit on this opinion and see who they draw. because honestly, they would be the kind of team that would draw Purdue as an 8 and 9, right? And if that's the case, then we may be I may be trying to twist your arm when we're doing the bracket show.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to our
We'll
bracket show. I rewatched our tapes from last year, and I was very proud to see a lot of our stuff here. We were not being too much of homers at all, and of course, we said do not take Purdue, and we faded Houston at the right time. But if you guys couldn't tell by Drew's background, spring training is here. So for those looking to get ahead on the upcoming MLB season, grab your Roto-World Baseball Draft Guide. It's loaded with comprehensive positional rankings, projections, and player profiles to ensure your draft is a success. Visit NBCSports.com/draft guide and use code BASEBALL24 to get 10% off at checkout. It is an NBA day to talk about, Drew. First, I'll mention I saw a tweet saying the Pirates might go get Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. I don't believe it. But I just want to throw that out there. For NBA Thursday, we got a great slate. Obviously, Celtics and Nuggets. We got matchups like the Heat at Mavericks on TNT. We got the Celtics and Nuggets after that. Also, the Bulls and Warriors is going to be a good game too, I think. So what do you like, Drew?
All right. Well, this is where the rubber meets the road for our Southeast bets, Vaughn. Still value on the Magic. I don't understand it.
Yes, I agree.
The Magic, the Heat are about to go to hell, back-to-back against Mavericks and then Oklahoma City on Friday. Take these 2 losses, Heat, regroup, next week. But this is where we create the gap that we need to get this one home. So eyes very, very, particularly that Friday matchup, man. Oh my gosh, I need Oklahoma City to win that one in a big way. So if the Heat somehow shock the world and win these 2 games, then you can find me in a ditch Monday morning. The game I most want to talk about though is Nuggets Celtics. So Celtics had a chance to make history. They realistically needed to win that game against the Cavs, and then this game against the Nuggets was kind of the only game where we were expecting them to be dogs for the rest of the season. So they could have carried about a 33-game win streak into the playoffs if they had taken care of business against the Cavs. That was one of the more shocking results of the entire season, particularly if you watched the game. It was like, how is this happening? Like, what is going on? No Donovan Mitchell, like, huh? Like, it was very, very tough to rationalize how that ultimately went down. Evan Mobley leaves and with an injury. It was all kinds of messed up. Celtics need to bounce back pretty big time in altitude. They're going to be dogs against the Nuggets, and a lot of people are going to be looking at this game, framing it as a preview of the NBA Finals, because right now, the people are, the proof. I mean, the writing is on the wall. The East is the Celtics to lose. Now they can lose it, obviously, as they've proven multiple times. They find a way out of the game, find a way out of a series. But I still think they are head and shoulders, huge margin over the next best team in the East. And then I would look at a Nuggets team, and people are starting to really kind of come around them as the class of the West. Before the All-Star break, they were scuffling. They stumbled their way into the All-Star break, and Malone did a pretty decent job, I think, of kind of getting his team motivated and really kind of called them to task to say, hey, we need to play good basketball in the month of March and really kind of set ourselves up for home court advantage in the West, which is going to be massive. And ultimately, they've done that so far. It's been a really, really impressive couple of weeks here from Nikola Jokic. He is basically running away with the MVP at this point. I'm going to take a big ol' L on some of the bets that I made in and around the All-Star break on SGA. I think so. It feels over.
He's still -1. It hasn't moved in weeks.
I think the price is now wrong the other way, right? It's been a weird market, right? When Embiid got hurt, all of the money went immediately flipped into the Jokic price, which made him overbought, and the price just didn't make sense. But he is played up to now the level where he should be priced there or even higher, I think, because the Nuggets are very, very squarely now, in my opinion, going to be a top 2 seed in the West. And if Jokic is a top 2 seed with his profile, with his history, with last year's kind of backdrop, I really don't see any way that SGA could steal, even if OKC is the 1 seed. There's just not enough room. Doncic is going to be kind of on the outside of the playoff spot as it is. Like he might get the 6th, but he might be in a play-in. If he's in the play-in, put a solid line through him. And as good as Giannis has been, I think there's still a little bit of a stench around the Bucks that is going to prevent people from putting him number 1 on the MVP ballot. So, and he's missing some time right now. So, a lot of reasons to kind of really kind of key on Jokic MVP. But I will tell you, I'm going to get involved here with the Celtics against the Nuggets. I like the way they match up in pretty much every way. I'm expecting a pretty full, healthy roster from the Celtics here. This is not the kind of game that I would expect them to take off. And I think, considering how that game went down against the Cavs, this is kind of a full hard perform opportunity here for our Celtics. That said, anything, if I'm not getting plus money on the money line, I'm probably not betting this game. Right now, I would expect the market opens Nuggets -2.5-ish. It's a neutral rest situation, neutral injury situation here. And really the key and why I kind of like the Celtics in this spot more than I like the Celtics in a head-to-head against them in the finals is that the bench unit for the Nuggets is still pretty atrocious. And the Celtics bench has been probably one of the more glorious parts of their regular season success. And I think in those minutes, basically any minute that Jokic is off the floor, the Celtics have an advantage on a point per possession basis of like 0.2 or 0.3 points. Like it's massive. So I think that's going to be enough to get them across the finish line. And I think ultimately the fact that they have so many guys that can, switch and defend. If it's a close game, end of game state, I think they're going to be able to do a decent job of kind of making sure the worst guy on the floor is the guy that gets the shot off. So give me the Celtics at anything plus money in Denver against the Nuggets. And honestly, if this opens Celtics as favorites, then, the market has more respect for the Celtics than I realized. But I think it's going to be Nuggets small favorite in this game. What's your read?
Yeah, I think the Celtics are the best team in the NBA, but I agree. I think the Nuggets will open here as small favorites. And the Nuggets are also coming off a home loss against the Suns where they clawed back, forced OT, then lost in OT, which is not the common result of a home team fighting back to get into overtime. So I know the Nuggets are going to have a little bit on their shoulders, but it may have been a look-ahead spot for both teams. Obviously, as you spoke on Celtics, what a weird result against the Cavaliers. I think that I'd be focusing on, rather than picking a side in this game, I'll probably be attacking a Jason Tatum prop. I think Tatum's going to be very, very aggressive. When he sat out in the third quarter of that Cavs game, Jaylen Brown kind of took over. And when Jaylen Brown takes over for the Celtics, I feel like weird things are bound to happen, Drew, if Tatum's not on the floor. But I do agree with you about the benches as well here. So I like your look. I'm a huge Celtics supporter this year. I feel like I've missed all the best prices on them right now. But I certainly think Tatum's going to have a fantastic finish to the year. And on national TV, a 30 McNugget, as we like to call it, seems likely to happen.
I like it. The 30 McNugget for Tatum works for me. Hey, man. This is going to be must watch. If you're going to play the NBA playoffs, I think you need to see exactly what Malone has in store for how he wants to defend this particular Celtics squad in the clutch, and then vice versa. Did the Nuggets have any answers for dealing with the switchability of the Celtics defensively in the end of game state?
All right, and best bets from the show, I assume we're going to be taking the Celtics at Tatum 30 piece and Iowa State to make the Final Four.
Iowa State to Final Four. Anywhere in the plus 550, 600 range, I think is a nice bet, man. You're rolling the dice that you're going to avoid UConn. I don't like them necessarily against UConn, but I'm not going to be super sad if that's the way it breaks. If they steal the Big 12 title in the tournament, in the Big 12 tournament, then we could be cooking with gas as a 2 or 3 seed.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I got an $80 free bet. I spent 30 minutes last night trying to decide what I was going to do with it. And I said, I'm going to do a sleep, wake up, and figure it out. Drew figured it out for me. Thank you, my man. Enjoy the slopes. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Stay warm when you can, my friend. And don't come back with any Achilles injuries like Giannis. We need you. You're our MVP, Drew.
It's a good call. It's a good call.
It's a good call. What else is a good call is telling people don't forget to check out NBCSports.com for all your help. But we appreciate you guys for watching us live on the NBC Sports YouTube channel. For the Well Capper, for V Money, for Dan behind the scenes, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.